I'm just asking for the resolution, and you explain.
To proceed with the bond council.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what that.
Okay, but I don't have any explanation for it. It's just, if you need it.
All we need to have, that's a very long resolution. We just say we're proceeding with the bond council, and that's
Right.
the resolution that we're doing.
John's with us.
I know.
Yeah, I came
Well,
over.
He can actually move.
He has his own table now.
Yeah.
I'm Dave Ruffner,
He's
though.
Dave Ruffner.
So if anything gets really bad,
All right, it is 8 a.m. I'd like to call the Brimfield Township special meeting to order on 7/22 at 8 a.m. Roll call.
all those present, Mike,
Yeah.
Nick,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes,
the entire board is here.
All right. This is just a special meeting that we had on the books to proceed with bond council issue and CARES Act issue. That's all that we have on the agenda for this morning. Is there anything else that we want to add to this agenda?
Mike's mental ability.
Sue, anything additional?
no,
All right, so let's start with the bond issue. We will turn this over to Fire Chief.
I just need to ask for the resolution to proceed. This will be the final piece before I can take it to the Board of Elections. So if we have any questions, fiscal officer's here to answer those.
All right, so for discussion, I'd like to make a motion to accept the resolution determining to proceed with bond issue. I need a second.
I can second that.
All right. And John, this is the resolution. We need to now send it off to get it on the ballot.
Yes,
correct?
Dinsmore is the company that Dennis Shawali works for, and he's our bond counsel. So that resolution is saying we're proceeding with him to be our bond counsel, which we've already decided in the past. That's the actual official resolution that we have to put in place. And then also the second letter that I don't know if Mike signed it yet, or
Yeah, it's right there. He
okay.
needs to sign it. He's got it.
that is pretty much signing off saying that we passed the resolution and please proceed. And then he'll start working with Craig again.
So this is one we're signing?
We're signing, yes, that we have accepted that and moving on. So,
Okay.
yeah, so you just need to sign that and we're set.
All right. Is there any other questions about this bond issue for the fire admin building?
Craig pretty much answered all my questions, so.
No, but I will make a comment.
Yeah.
Just for the public, as we start to proceed with this, we're looking at, it will cost $3.99 per $100,000 valuation, home valuation per month. So we think that's very fair, and we hope you feel the same.
Yeah, I think it's a fair piece for what we're asking for too. I mean, we're expanding the fire station, the living quarters, updating the admin, and getting people out of a rental situation that we're in too. So $3.99 per $100,000 valuation per month is what we're asking for.
And then this, you're guesstimating it'll last 40 years?
At least. I think the building will be built to last quite a bit longer, but we all know technology changes, and we'll see where we're at that point.
So the build out was for 40 years, but this is a 28-year bond, right? So
Right.
they're only paying for 28 years.
Right.
And then we get life past the payment.
And like I said, hopefully it lasts 100 years, but
Yeah, we know how that goes.
yeah, we know how that goes.
Well, and at that point, if we needed to build onto it as well, we have space to build on if we needed to do that.
Well, and that was
down the
one
road.
That was one of the decisions of why we wanted to come back to here, because we own so much property here. We need to expand. We can go south, east.
Yep.
Anyway, we need to up, down,
Just-
whatever we need to get.
How old is the present base?
It was built in 1969. And that was built to
50
house
years.
volunteer.
And they've been
department.
ready to be replaced for 10 years.
So if we can get 50 years out of it, like.
I think we've done pretty well. I think
Yeah.
and those bays were really built for a volunteer fire department and not really sleeping quarters. I think we've gotten life out of this building. as much
Just,
as
I
we
mean,
can.
the moisture that those guys are dealing with down in that basement is insane. I mean, what if we get a female firefighter? Where are we putting her?
Right.
This is her new bedroom?
Yes.
Well, and then on the admin side, I mean, this where we're sitting used to be a garage, and you can't control the temperature, so offices are constantly fighting over some type of comfort level.
Well, and this was 3 offices as well. Before, this was my fiscal
Right.
office,
I forgot about
Nancy's office, and the parks office. So
Mhm.
we got rid of those because we had to give space to the fire department for their eating quarters up there over where the old
Oh, yeah.
town hall room was at.
Yeah, and then you probably didn't see that back when these were offices.
No, yeah, that was
Yeah,
before
these
my
are
time.
all offices.
Right. So yeah, that's one of the reasons we needed to move. Well, it was just Nancy and I that moved, which was okay, but the other employees, we only have 2 offices for them to share, and we
Well,
got
that
6
definitely,
employees.
I mean, what we did here definitely bought us some time.
Right.
I can't, how many years ago was that? Was that when you were, that,
Oh, yeah, it was
At least
probably,
10?
12.
yeah, no, it was probably 10 years ago. Yeah. It was after,
and that was longer
it
than
was
I
right
thought
after
we'd get
Missy
it.
McElduff left. So
Yeah.
whenever that was.
'Cause remember, we had thoughts about expanding back then, but the budget was so tight.
Yeah, it wasn't the right time. Now
Right.
it is.
So, I mean, it did work. I mean, hindsight, we thought it wasn't gonna work, but it did work.
Well, and Brimfield's different 10 years from ago to what we are now in regards to what we are, correct?
Yeah.
And
And just needs of the township. I mean, it's a growing township.
residents, yeah. I mean, the 2000 census, what was it, 6,000 some residents we had? And now we're pushing 15,000.
I have talked to
20
some
years.
people who said that it's about time.
Right.
Well, and we're kind of falling behind the times, not that we need to do that with all of our communities around us. I mean, we're just a little clubhouse and then the rest of them are all fire departments and admin buildings all put together. Randolph was actually building onto theirs the other day. Suffields, Rootstowns, Kents, Talmadges are all a house compared to our little clubhouse that we have. And a lot of the things that we can't do anymore, we're going to need additional help. When we add nursing homes in town, we're going to need additional squads. We'd have to be parking them outside. We don't even have a place to park them. So,
Right.
and not to mention the one last thing, I know, Mike, you talked about the moisture and all that. Also the exhaust that rolls right down the stairs from the trucks when you open them in the bay. So that can't be good.
Yeah, there's just health concerns too. And I think that's another big reason.
So as we, I know we're still second this, as we do this whole renovation,
Mhm.
this renovation will entail getting that area dry.
Yes.
so-
There will be no
But
offices.
I mean,
or
it
living
will correct
quarters
the
in basement.
problems. It will
Yes.
correct the problems over there.
Yes. We will move everybody up.
Well, and didn't we have with the old building, because I mean, the old town hall has to be fixed. We can keep the fascia of it, but the
Yeah.
wood is all rotten away.
Yeah,
So
the
it's pretty
vid-
much just gonna be a redo of that whole building. It is.
Visual will look the same per the renderings.
Right.
But the building will not be the same. It'll be updated.
It's pretty much falling apart. Is what's
But I
happening.
mean, the hose tower,
Yeah, I'd like to keep all that, but if you look, the roof's like being in the ocean, it's wavy all the way across and needs redone.
and I
so-
mean, the solar panels, everything stays.
Yep.
So
That's the plan.
how old is that building? Is anyone, Chick?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was before his time too.
So
You
you
look back
don't
at-
have any idea, do you?
No, I
If you
don't.
look back at some of the pictures from when the Kelso house was over there in the old gazebo or the gazebo with the bandstand, it was over there too.
It was
So
over there.
it was in that area. They moved it from over there to
The
over.
front?
The front part of it was moved from, wasn't
Oh, I
that
didn't
attached
know.
where the Kelso house was behind it and then they moved it over there?
Oh, I thought it was always here. I think they thought.
Well, they
built
moved
it-
the Kelso house in 1963.
Well, yeah, they moved the Kelso house right across the back there.
See, I always thought they moved it over there. I can't be.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen
a-
it in pictures though before on Kelso, so it's been out there a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
But
mean,
Chick
it's-
was telling me about the move. No, it was Edgar McCormick. that told
yeah,
me
yeah,
about the move.
$1,200 to move it. Cost $1,200 to go from this Shell station up to the farm up here where they put the Kelso house.
And it's not like we're losing parkland. I mean, maybe losing a little bit here, but we're gaining it with the soccer fields and
Yeah.
with the
We're
purchase of the house.
giving 4 acres
Yeah.
back.
Well, and not to even harp on that again, but if you ever look at Brimfest or if you go out there on a daily basis, that part of the park that we're gonna move into, no one ever uses. It's never used by Brimfest. I've never seen anybody out there having a picnic or anything, so it's just vacant land that happens to be in the park, but it's not gonna, if we do Brimfest, it won't affect that area because they don't use that part anyway.
Well, we have a lot of parkland that we've added just in the past 2 years. I mean, we have now the soccer fields, we have Mesner Acres that's going to be opening up. So, I think there's a give and take there with this expansion.
So have we had any dialogue with the chamber as to the future? of-
Yes.
Well, okay,
I have spoke to Jeff just a couple of days ago.
Okay,
We're
good.
on the same page
good.
about
Okay.
the need and what we're doing and where we'll have to move things.
Well, the bond has to pass. so-
Of course.
Right.
Yep. So at this point, it's just kind of, there's a motion on the table to put it in the voters' hands. And obviously over the next several months, we'll have a lot of information and updates going on.
Yeah, and visuals.
Yeah.
Obviously, start having visuals, something.
So, John, can we get a roll call?
Okay,
So
all
we
those,
have-
all those in favor of passing of the Dinsmore resolution, Mike,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes,
motion passed.
All right. The next piece we have is,
So who do I give this to?
That comes back to me.
The next piece we're going to have is for the CARES Act. So I'm going to make a motion to put this on the table, and we'll talk about it. A motion whereas the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act 116, Public Law 136, the CARES Act was signed into law by the President of the United States on March 27, 2020. And whereas the 133rd Ohio General Assembly, hereafter General Assembly, established a process for distributing funds provided by the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. And whereas the General Assembly requires subdivision receiving funds to pass a resolution affirming that funds from the County Coronavirus Relief Distribution Fund may be expended only to cover costs of the subdivision consistent with the requirements of Section 5001 of the CARES Act as described in 42 United States Code 601D and any applicable regulations before receiving said funds. And whereas Brimfield Township is requesting its share of funds from the Portage County Coronavirus Relief Distribution Fund. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Brimfield Township affirms that all funds received from Portage County Coronavirus Relief Distribution Section 5001 of the CARES Act and any applicable regulations and guidance only to cover expenses that, one, are necessary expenditures incurred due to the public health and emergency with respect to the coronavirus disease 2019, known as COVID-19. We are not accounted for in Brimfield Township's most recently approved budget as of March 27th, 2020, and were incurred during the period that begins March 1st, 2020 and ends on December 30th, 2020. Furthermore, be it resolved that the Board of Brimfield Township, that the Brimfield Township fiscal officer take all necessary actions on or before October 15th, 2020, pay an unencumbered balance of money in the Brimfield Township's local coronavirus relief fund to the Portage County Treasurer. On or before December 28th, 2020, pay the balance of any money in the Brimfield Township local coronavirus relief fund to the state treasurer in the manner prescribed by the Director of the Ohio Budget and Management, and provide any information related to any payments received under this process established by the General Assembly to the Director of the Ohio Office of Budget and Management as requested. I need a second for that.
Second.
So what this is basically the president created the CARES Act, which distributed a bunch of money across the United States. Portage County was allotted $4.6 million.
Could I have that
This
amount
is
again, please?
4.6, roughly 4.6. So it's $4,618,208.20.
Okay.
But then what I've read about it, they're gonna distribute it as local government. like they
So
did.
yeah, they're going to use a local government fund distribution model. So
So
obviously,
we're gonna basically take it up the,
yeah.
compared to the cities.
Yep, I sent a request to some of our state reps about that, and this is what they came up with. They didn't want to rewrite a new formula. So it was easiest to follow the LGF.
So even though we had 15,000 people, which were almost bigger than cities, we're
Right.
getting a smaller dollar amount.
Right. This is all the more reason why when we have another LGF discussion in the future, it's important that we get a more fair distribution, because
I think we
obviously this is
need
going to
to,
be a mode for them to distribute money.
I think we need to elect people that actually have some common sense.
I agree. It's a mess. I
These
mean,
boneheads, and I did say boneheads,
Yeah.
down there in Columbus are so busy running for their job every other year, they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
So would we submit purchases that we've done?
yeah, so there's actually a
Coronavirus.
listing that the Ohio Township Association distributed to us of what's actually covered and then what is going to be most likely covered.
Okay.
It's things like any cleaning supplies, disinfectant supplies, those purchases, cleaning services, overtime to cover due to illnesses or increased call volume.
Emergency supplies. any of that
Emergency
stuff.
supplies, any technology that we had to purchase so that people could telework.
I was gonna say, I had to purchase laptops for people to work from home.
Right,
That's
yeah, so all
significant.
of that are things that we're gonna
So you have
compile.
a-
and
you
I'm
have a
gonna
good
work with
list to
Don.
put together?
Well,
Well, I'm waiting
Yeah,
for
we can
the,
put it
they have to
together
send
pretty
me,
quick.
there's gonna be a enrollment form that they're gonna send back to me where I believe it's gonna have fill in the blanks of what you've. So I'll bring that to all of you and we'll make sure that we got everything
Yeah, but
Okay.
we need to make sure we go to every department, police, fire, roads, IT, and gather as much, because, we might as well recover our fair amount, because
Right.
this is gonna go back to the county if it doesn't get spent, and eventually probably back to the state, so we might as well keep the dollars local.
And I want
Right.
to throw a plug in there. I purchased some stuff, but Lowe's, Brimfield of Lowe's donated so much to us. I just want to thank them. So I won't actually have that much because they continue to donate.
So we can, well, that's great.
Yeah.
But we can still purchase stuff now and it would still be covered.
Right.
Yeah, because the
It's still
period
that
is until the
time.
end of this year
Right.
that we did not, so, because we didn't create a line item at the beginning of the year saying we're gonna have a pandemic fund.
Right.
So these are all things.
So this would be a good time to stock up on some more stuff,
I am.
so.
I just got
right.
another 1,000 mass purchase, so I haven't stocked at 1,500 now in the garage.
Man, I get more than that.
That's just, I'm getting them.
I'm so
I'm getting
against
more and
sending
more.
anything back to the county,
Right.
you know?
So, yeah, so we just,
Buy extra.
I'm going to.
John, did you do some kind of estimate on what we could possibly receive?
Is it 8%? Is that what we get out of the
no,
government?
I think it's like 2%, but
Oh.
we haven't gotten official numbers. In fact, and so we may have a township association meeting coming up. We're gonna try to do it virtually, because one of the questions I had to the other townships is how much information are you getting on these grants and funding? And we're seeing very little. In fact, we wouldn't have known about this if it wasn't for the Ohio Township Association giving that direction to us to do this movement. We never heard from the county commissioners saying, hey, there's this funding, you guys need to do this.
Well,
We
if
never
it all
heard-
goes back to them, then.
And we never heard from the
Right.
EMA either, so.
And I just talked to Sabrina, I didn't hear anything, I mean, other than reading the Ohio Township.
Yeah, and so, luckily, we have good partners at that point lobbying for us down in the state of Ohio. And they keep us informed, but, this is another issue that we have at the county level is we're not being told about funding opportunities when they arise. And this resolution had to be done in a timely manner. If we would have missed it, we would have lost out on the money.
So if I'm hearing this right, how much local government do we get percentage wise?
It was whatever we negotiated.
I
They
think it
wanna
was
use that-
2%,
So we get, Brimfield gets 2%.
That was higher.
because the county gets 50%, remember?
Wow. Wow. This is the-
But then I thought Kent got like 20-some% of it, and then, but we were the highest
it's a
Yeah.
shame.
township, and I
Yeah,
thought it was
just-
higher than 2, because
Yeah, I think it was higher than 2.
Was it higher than 2? I thought we came to an agreement to make it more fair. I'd have to look back at my old notes on it, but.
Yeah, Tom Kelsey would know, but it still wasn't
The
fair.
point is, it's unfortunate that we get 2.
you're talking about the meetings that you
8%.
had with all the other
Yep.
trustees to
Oh,
figure out the
yeah.
deal amount. Okay.
And the
Yeah.
county gets
I'm not
50%.
just familiar with what you guys
That's
decided.
insane.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, so this motion's on the floor to accept the CARES Act funding. Can I get a roll call vote on it?
All those in favor, Mike,
Yes,
Nick,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes,
motion passed. Just in a kind of an FYI, Sue had passed along to me a couple weeks ago, a very similar CARES Act option from NOPEC that was out there, and we filled out the paperwork that we need for that. They didn't require us to have a resolution like that yet, but I'm sure it's probably coming. But,
Okay.
but we did, NOPEC has some money that's sitting out there.
any idea how much or?
No, they didn't give me a list like that. It just was talking about proceeds from the CARES Act that, we need to fill out these forms and be a part of it. So we did that. So thanks, Sue, for getting that over to me.
you,
Yeah, so I am working on, I sent out a survey monthly to all the townships, see if they'd be interested in a virtual township association meeting, because we can't do them in person. We skipped the last one because of COVID, so we're gonna try to do a virtual one. And the biggest consensus I'm hearing from everybody is, A, they're not hearing about any grants, and they need to know about it because funding is one of the big issues that they have a concern with.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna try to put something together and hopefully find some more funding for us that way.
I guess with COVID, could we, I'm just throwing this out there with the CARES Act, could we lost revenues? Could that be because of COVID?
No,
Is
we'd
that
have to look at there's a state code on some of this, so we're gonna. have
Just
to
wondering
read
if
through
that was a thing, just because of COVID being shut down and lost JED dollars and all that stuff, if that was an effect, because that was part of our budget for 2020.
Right.
that
I
we
don't
didn't
know.
expect not to have.
You're gonna have lost revenues next year.
Yeah, you're not gonna know for a while.
I mean, that Jed.
I know, but I was just throwing that out there, especially if there's that much money and we have to. Okay. We'll go by their list that they have. That might not be one. of them.
Yeah, I honestly, I think with their list, we're probably maxed it out anyways, between IT purchases, cleaning supplies, and some overtime. I think it's gonna be more than.
I mean, IT is a big one, setting up all these Zoom meetings or these meetings we had. I mean,
Oh,
that's
no,
big.
And then
Equipment,
teleworking,
right?
I mean, we sent everybody to telework. I mean, that's a cost that we weren't anticipating.
How many laptops did we buy? 4?
Yeah, and The IT one being the significant one.
And we also bought
It's
some,
not a ton.
They were
but it's
additional
something.
ones that we didn't have to have. I mean, all the admin staff went home, didn't have
Well,
laptops before.
and let's be honest, any second we could do it again.
Mhm.
And
right.
if
I mean, now we're prepared for it.
Well, I think
more.
the
it's not,
governor,
it's not slowing down right now.
the governor's talking tomorrow or today,
I know.
isn't he?
Yeah, he's supposed to talk today and tomorrow. So I think today he won't say much. Tomorrow will be an issuance of anything.
For the public though, we're prepared.
Mhm.
We're ready.
Right.
For whatever we gotta do.
Well, and from a perspective of how the township ran, I'm actually pretty proud of the employees that we had. We didn't really have that many issues with them working at home in regards to service to the community and all that. I mean, our zoning permits were put out, all of our fiscal office stuff was done, all of our cemetery stuff. We didn't have any hiccups in any of that, except for the park and recs because we had to close everything. But other than that, I think they all worked really well in the pandemic. So we did okay. So again, being ready for another one, our practice round went real well.
Right.
So
Right. Well, and we got even our public boards, the BZA
Sure.
and
those
zoning
meetings went real
commission
well
are
too.
now all doing them virtually. I mean, that's, I think, we would not have been able to do that without IT.
I don't know. Do you think down the road with like the BZA and all that, when they have that many people, that they just keep them virtual like that instead of all meeting somewhere? I mean, there was what?
I
10?
think we'll be back to in person because people like to be able to come in and speak. And the downside with doing them virtually is that the developer can't, if he's talking about something and realizes, oh, there's a question to be answered and needs to introduce a new piece of information, he can't do that. We have to then table the meeting.
Kind of hard for documents as well. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, you
so
can look them up.
you end up
but-
tabling it. A table is 30-day extension then, and that really slows down people's progress.
Okay.
So, all right, anything else for the good of the order?
Oh, on your table, I got 3 copies of the land bank report. I sit on that land bank committee, and there's the report for 2019. So and my picture's in it, so you can take a look.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was flipping through it when I got here this
Yeah.
morning.
Well, Dan Morgani came over from Kent, and the land bank hired him to be the director of the land bank, where before we were using the neighborhood development services to do all the paperwork and all that stuff that goes along with the land bank. And Dan's just really stepped right in there. He's doing a great job. A lot more efficient.
All right. All right, so I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make that motion.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, Mike,
Aye.
Nick,
Yes.
Sue.
yes.
Okay, we are adjourned at 8:24.
We're still live. I don't know how. Let me just stop it. There's an end because you're still live. Go all the way to the bottom of the screen, Craig.